Today we will talk about Tether and the news around the collapse of Evergrande as more and more begins to come out on that. And we have an article here, I'm not sure when it's from, but there is more news on this as the actual company has ended up in court again after it got extended for about a month. That was about 1 month ago, I guess. And I found this, which explains the entire thing, and I will come back and elaborate more after he explains it.
Yo, is Tether, Bitcoin, and Ethereum about to go down? Evergrande, China's second largest property developer, has finally been ordered to liquidate with an outstanding default balance of $300 billion.
Oh, shit.
To put that into perspective, everything that happened back in 2008 by Bernie Madoff only caused $20 billion in damages. Still think it's a nothing burger? This is already causing some turmoil in the market as their stock has been halted. Now, why did I say USDT, Tether, Bitcoin, and Ethereum? Keep in mind, all of this right here is all speculation. But we all understand that $300 billion is about to be defaulted on. And this might be the catalyst of the Black Swan event that starts the domino effect to take out the whole entire system. And if that's the case, it's okay. We've been preparing for this, right? Because we got a new system coming in. This is why it's so important to know what you hold.
Okay, so I had to cut a little bit of that out because it did have a clip of a song in there, and I will get popped on that, but I will elaborate a little bit more on what he said. And each of those two parts at the end there that talk about the alleged new asset backed currency here in the US and in other countries as well is a thing that I do talk about from time to time, because I do think that that is the only way to have a system that actually works, even though the elites in control would not actually want that, because then they wouldn't just be able to print more and more out of thin air and rob us more and more each time. So here's a headline that came out tomorrow that came out yesterday. I do not come from the future, I promise. We had Evergrande trading halted on the Chinese markets after it plunged over 20% in early trading on Monday, which is today our time. Well, again, that was actually yesterday just because of the time changes. Again, I promise I'm not from the future. After a Hong Kong court ruled to liquidate the property developer. Not sure of the effects on the US Open tomorrow, which will be today. And just FYI, it is 5:29 a.m. right now. So we will see more as it unfolds.
The judge, Linda Chen, has spoken, ordering Evergrande to be liquidated. This is obviously something that we were expecting, coming today, and probably the most prominent symbol, this company so far, when it comes to the real estate crisis. And so certainly we'll see what sort of ripple effects this may lead to, what sort of ripple effect.
And of course, that does tie into Ripple and XRP, which is much more of a speculation than I want to make in this piece of content, at least. But that does tie into a lot of other things with the connections that Ripple and XRP have to this quote-unquote new financial system that I do talk about from time to time. So guess what backs Tether and Bitcoin? And that information ties back in here, which I will touch on in just a bit now. But a lot of Bitcoin volume is USDT artificially propping up the coin, and Tether reserves were mainly Evergrande papers plus USD. Evergrande actually goes down. USDT is tied to USD. So if USD goes to zero, so shall USDT. Without anything to prop up Bitcoin, it will go down as well. Now, I don't think this will cause things to go to zero per se, but I think it will cause a lot of very large problems once this actually works its way through the financial system. And of course, that is pretty speculative because there are a lot of other things that have to happen in between that. But I do think that it will cause some problem. And here is a lot more information on the connections and the ties of Evergrande. If you are interested in that, it is on the Butcher of Wall Street page on X, and that is a long cut, so I won't put that on here, but it does have a lot of information on this. So it is crucial to understand that UBS, HSBC, and Blackrock are the primary purchasers of Evergrande's debt. It is alarming because a seemingly small issue could trigger a much larger and devastating financial crisis akin to a small snowball causing a massive avalanche. And I have been interested in the Tether connections for a long time now, but the people who I was primarily following on that were a little bit too put a little bit too much emphasis on things at that time, in my own opinion. And it just seemed like we wouldn't ever have anything actually happen because of the amount of control that the elites have over the USD and Tether as well. So in that, in this one that I did have to cut, he did explain a little bit more about this map, which I had to take out. So we are pretty much about at this point here, right? So there's about 300 billion of defaulting debt, as well as derivatives and a lot of other financial instruments that are tied to the financial situation of the company of Evergrande itself. So if Evergrande were to actually default, a lot of, and possibly all, I'm not 100% on that, of Tether could actually default as well, which would lead to a lot of problem with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ERC20s, which it is my opinion that a lot of these ERC20 tokens are just a way for the very large entities involved in Ethereum to pump and dump and to cash out of Ethereum on these retail pump and dumps as they possibly can. So essentially, Tether is supposed to be one-to-one with USD, but they haven't really ever had a full audit, and a lot of this came out with the FTX drama a bit over 1 year ago now. So it works because Tether creates USDT as a loan in exchange for BTC and ETH with their supposed one-to-one tie to the assets that they say that they actually hold. And then that goes into the automated, or well, it's not AMMs, but it goes into the market makers to control and pump the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Over the last couple of months, there have been a ton of Tether actually printed, and that is interesting because we don't know where it actually came from and if it is actually one-to-one with the USD that they say. So it doesn't have any financial licenses and is more or less unregulated at this point. And it is registered in the Virgin Islands, which is where a number of the more suspicious crypto companies were actually headquartered, such as FTX. So it is a non-regulated, I can't say STs, but it's right there, and accounts for about 1/2 of the market cap of all of those ST coins. There are a few that own a vast majority of all of USDT, which are essentially the ones who are involved in this crypto money printing scheme. So I'm not sure if we will actually see a true implosion that just takes everything down, but I think we will soon begin to see the actual impact of Evergrande on Tether and the rest of the crypto market, primarily with Bitcoin and ETH. And if each of those has an issue, then a lot of other things could as well, especially in the short to mid-term. But the rise of the ETFs makes me very... I don't know that the impact would be as huge as we might think, just because people like Blackrock wouldn't put a lot of institutional money into Bitcoin if they didn't know where things were actually headed. So that is a lot of speculation, but we will just have to wait and see how this actually works out.